black people. It's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like the king, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality simple. Reality simple. My black people, it's all about the unity. There's nothing they can do with us, so ain't nobody moving me. Like the king, we make it plain and simple. Bringing knowledge and fire at reality simple.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the host of this particular program, known here on the World Wide Web, as some of y'all still may call this particular media. However, I'm known as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would like to direct this particular video towards those people of whom I call pink, Caucasian, and some of y'all know of as white people. I do not like saying white, and it is because white in the English language means holy, pure, unblemished, righteous, so forth, holy, and Caucasian people know they are none of these things. Some may be trying to be holy, some may be trying to be righteous, some may be trying to be pure, like the driven snow, but we know as a people, they are not. In fact, none of us, regardless of skin color, many of us do not fall into the category of pure, holy, and righteous and all this type of thing. When I said pink, well, they call themselves Caucasian, but when I said pink, there is no disrespect because there is no racial hatred in relation to the color pink. You are not white. You are more pink than any other thing that's out here. So, and pink represents a certain character or whatever, but it has nothing to do when somebody call you pink. It is not racist. It has no racist connotation to it or anything. It's just another word to describe a people who should not be described as white. So it is either Caucasian or pink. However you do it. The reason why you want to be called white people is because you know in the English language, white refers, or we equate white to pure, holy, righteous, and all this type of thing. This you are not. And see, that's why I am directing this video towards Caucasian or pink people, because what is wrong with you? I don't understand y'all thinking. I really don't. I want to bring this as an example. And of course I'm talking to so-called black people, the so-called Negro, however, Africans, Americaners, however you want to view yourself, you know what you are. I want to refer to the movie called A Time to Kill, A Time for a Kill, or something like that. Remember, it was Samuel Jackson, and he shot these pink racists for raping his daughter. and then he was on the stand, and the prosecutor was telling Samuel Jackson, well, what kind of punishment do you think these guys should get for raping a child? Do you think they should get 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Do you think they should die? Yeah, I think they should die, and I think they should burn in hell. Basically, that's what Samuel Jackson said. Now, this is not to jump off the subject because I'm trying to understand the mentality of Caucasian people who say they can comprehend what justice is. But I want to say this to black folks. Now, many black people, you clap when Samuel Jackson said that. I believe they should die and burn in hell. That's what you said. This was due to 2 Caucasian men raped a young black child. Okay. However, this is the ironic thing about it. Many of you agree with this, but yet and still, you live in a country that have raped countless young black girls, lynch black women, lynch black men for centuries, not for 10 days, not for 10 years, not for 10 months, but for over 400 years, over 300 years. We do know for a fact this is the kind of evil that was perpetrated on us, but yet and still, as a nation, you don't want nobody talking about America. You don't want nobody to tell and say to your precious America, I believe that this nation should die and burn in hell. And it has done worse than these 2 individual racist Caucasian men. In fact, it's the nation of America that produced these. It was built on this type of mentality. And then the lawyer goes on to say, in order to get justice from the jury, he tells the jury about the rape of the black girl. Then he says, now, imagine if the child is white. So you mean to tell me, if this jury that is all Caucasian or pink, if they do not imagine that this black girl is a pink girl, a Caucasian girl, there would be no justice. There would be no acquittal for Samuel Jackson. Don't that show you that Caucasian people or pink people, that you have a problem with the comprehension of justice? And that is the reason why black folks and many other people in this nation continue to cry foul, because there is no justice. You cannot comprehend justice. You say it, but you really can't do it because you cannot comprehend it. Because you cannot see the evil and the flaw in yourself. These same Caucasian people in America, these same pink people in America, they will tell you very quickly, Adolf Hitler was an evil man. They'll tell you about Joseph Stalin. They'll tell you about the dictator and tyrant Saddam Hussein. They call the fella in Syria a dictator. They call Colonel Gaddafi a dictator. Evil people. But yet and still, how do you ignore yourself? You live in a country that you killed how many Native American people in order to secure this nation? How many Adolf Hitlers, Stalin, Saddam Hussein, and so forth? How many of these people would it take to even come close to what you have done in order to build this nation? Bring it. Talk to me. Bring it. You cannot comprehend justice. And you are doing no better today. All of your wars that America has been involved in had nothing to do with democracy, had nothing to do with fighting for human rights. stealing oil, trying to secure cheap labor, trying to control another nation's resources and people. That's what these wars were about. Never justice, never freedom, never democracy. You cannot comprehend, and you don't see the evil and the wickedness in yourself. You don't see yourself as a dictator. You are worse than all these other persons I made mention combined. And you have been doing this since this nation came into existence. You claim that you respect, and in Washington, D.C., you now have a statue of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. And Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. said many things you did not like, and you just ignore those things to paint and use the image of Dr. King to keep black folks, your black citizens, in check. Like you do have justice, or you can comprehend justice. And you paint Dr. King as a peacemaker, but he was against your war in Vietnam. And Dr. King has been past this life since 1968. And his dream has yet to become a reality. And his dream cannot become a reality because Caucasian people, pink people in this nation, since you cannot comprehend justice, then his dream will never become a reality because you don't want justice for your once slaves or anybody that you can't use. Anybody who is an abuser. Anybody who is materialistic like you are. Success in America is materialism. Not being a humanitarian. Not being one who cares about the environment. Not one who wants true justice for everybody. That's a fallacy in America. You don't want that. America's filled with greedy, materialistic, vile, profane, nasty, every evil that you can think of occurs in America. And in religious teachings, it talks about the Babylon. And in religion, many religious teachers say that America is the great and the mystery Babylon. She has become a habitation of devils, a place for every foul and filthy bird, nasty. Go to all these clubs, go to all these different places where they party, and you see how nasty the people of America really are. A bunch of drunks, tobacco smokers, dope fiends, child molesters, and even worse. It's almost like living in a war zone. I don't understand your thinking, Caucasian people, but that's understandable, or I can understand because you can't comprehend justice. So you can argue about those who have been denied justice because you can't comprehend it. You think giving somebody welfare is justice and being fair. Nobody wants a fish. They want to be taught how to fish. Matter of fact, they need access to a pond. You deny access to the pond. You deny access to the ability to learn how to fish. And you give somebody some scales and some bones. And you think that's justice. You can't see in your eyes your own evil. So since you can't see your own evil, you can't comprehend justice. So it's good for Adolf Hitler to be punished. It's good for Saddam Hussein to be punished, and Stalin and Gaddafi and whoever, all these other people that you say evil. But when it's your turn, You don't believe you should die and burn in hell. But I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, justice is here. You've been given a chance to change your ways. But there's a power greater than you. And once that power becomes released, you will fall and you will crumble just like all the other wicked nations that came before you. And you will die. And you will burn in hell. That's the best thing that can happen. So people can finally be happy. Even Caucasian people can finally be happy. And get this demon off our back once and for all that have made slaves out of these of whom we call human beings. Thank you for listening. Jot down your comments. Let's talk about it. This your brother, Angel Snub 7. This was and is the Realist Temple on Earth. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on the Internet, or some of y'all still say the World Wide Web. However you see it, however you view it, however you want to call it, I am known here as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. It's very sad that you have to say, hopefully your friend, because there are so many people, because you have a difference of opinion, they do not want to be your brother or your friend. And so you would probably have to hope. But with that type of mentality, perhaps it is best that they do go ahead and go on about their business and leave you alone so that you can continue to find those who, although with a difference of opinion, may sit together at a table in order to iron out a difference, compromise, and understand a particular position or opinion, rather than those who are stuck in a square and have a problem coming up out of that square. They are rigid in thinking. So with that said, some may say that I am rigid in thinking. Well, not really. You can speak with me and you can talk with me in a civil manner anytime, and I believe that I can understand where you're coming from. However, there are some things that are not up for compromise. There are some things that we must stand firm on, because we are in a war with the participants being those who wish a better world, those who claim to be righteous versus the unrighteous, those who claim they worship some God of good, and those who are serving a God or even a people called devil. So we are at war, or the forces of humanity is at war as far as what we are going to do as a moral people or a moral life form. If you want to be evil, then just say so. Let us stop perpetrating a fraud. Just do that. Stop trying to be something that you're not, because quite clearly, if we were good people, then there would be no argument. There would be no need for the Reality's temple. There would be no need for black folks to continue to say and complain and do the things that we do. So clearly, somebody is fake. Now, on this particular video, I only have a few minutes. I just want to discuss something with you. It's been on my mind, and let's just talk about it. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. However, I guess you just have to, each situation is different. So that means that the solution is based upon each individual situation. But I often wonder, what does it take? And I am not a parent myself. However, I would like to know, what does it take? What type of mentality? Whereas it gets to the point where a parent would disown your child. Now, there are relatives, your uncle, cousins, things of this nature. I can understand some of your so-called blood relatives might piss you off, or you might feel them as an embarrassment. They are of your blood. They are related to you. And I can see where it's easy for you to disown them and just say, to hell with them, going about your business. However, if you are a parent and you are talking about disowning your child, you hate your child, this child that comes from your flesh, between a husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend, however, whatever the situation is, they came together, and now you say you disown your child. What type of mentality and what did this child do to make a parent say, I disown you? Which you cannot never do, because that's your flesh. However, you still don't want nothing to do with this child. Now, some children are disowned by their parents because that child refuses to do what their parents expect them to do. Some children are disowned because that child is disappointing to them. I wonder, what does it take? Now, I can understand a father. A father should feel or have that connection to his child just like the mother. But when a mother, a person that carried this life, some of y'all sisters breastfed, you are close to this baby. What does it take for you to get to the point to say, I disown you? I don't want nothing to do with this child. Wow. It must take a lot. But then also, in this world, it don't, because this world is not based on love. This world here is based on hate. It is based on selfishness. It is based on many other different criteria. It is not based on what is in the best interest of the human being. One of the things that you think that should unify or bring love and joy to the parent and the child would be religion, but yet it's still, religion is probably one of the worst things that divide families, that separate mother from daughter, son from father, father from daughter, son from mother, things of this nature. Why? Because of the things that we are taught in religion. And we become selfish in that if you don't do as our religion dictates, then we will ostracize you, including children. And it says in many of these religious teachings that there will be a separation, mother from daughter, son from father, husband from wife. So the religion itself teaches about separation. I wonder what it takes to disown a child, because it sounds so selfish, really, most times. as the child does not have the right to dictate what is good for their life. Just because the mother and father was a lawyer, does that mean the child should be a lawyer? And if you are not going to be a lawyer like your mother and father, then perhaps they will disown you because you want to cook. You want to cook shrimp for a living or whatever. These type of things happen. It's selfishness on the part of the parents. A child should have the right to dictate what is in the best interest for them. They can take advice from a parent, things of this nature, but I don't think that it is right that a parent dictate what a child should and should not do for their life. Yes, you brought them into being. Yes, you took care of them. But at the same time, when they become an adult like you, should not they as an adult have the right to dictate and determine where they want to live their life? It's their life. What are they going to do when you pass this life as a parent? And you leave them, your child, unhappy because they decided to seek what you wanted but not themselves. One of the top things that will get you disowned from so many parents is the fact that you might call yourself gay or lesbian. Many of you who follow this ministry, you understand my position on gay and lesbian homosexual behaviors. It is an unnatural behavior. However, just that, based on that behavior itself, as a parent, can you really disown and dislike and hate your child because that child tells you that they are gay or lesbian? And why is gay and lesbian, why is homosexual behavior treated so harsh? When you have liars, when you have murderers, when you have child molesters, you have children that have committed great sin in general, but they are not disowned. But as soon as a child says, I'm gay, homosexual, lesbian, then they get disowned. I don't understand. If we're going to be fair, for me it's about justice. It's about being fair. If you're going to do that to one, then you should do that to all. However, now what I don't like about those who practice homosexual behaviors is that you become arrogant yourself and you want to flaunt your lifestyle. You already know that your parents have a problem with you being gay, and then you want to bring your girlfriend, your boyfriend around them, hugging and kissing and doing all like this thing. The only thing that you're doing is inflaming the situation. No matter what your situation is or your disagreement with your parent, I don't believe, I know that we should not flaunt what you know they don't like. You can do whatever you want to do outside of their eyesight, but when you become around your parents, then be civil and respectful to your parents in the best manner that you can. A lot of us we have problems because we become arrogant. This is me. I'm going to do what I want to do. It also says in religious teaching that we should honor, we should respect our parents. So this is not saying that you can't do or don't have the right to do what you want to do as far as your life is concerned. However, let us try to be cordial with our parents and not flaunt, and let's not flaunt our rebellion or what our parents dislike in their presence in front of their faces like that. So, I don't know. There's a little error on the parents' part, and there is a little error on the child's part when we are trying to be a family and continue to maintain a family type relationship, because we are blood, because we are family, and there's nothing better and greater and stronger than family. In this world, in this situation, when we become individuals, this world loves it. They make more money. They take advantage of division. They take advantage of of flesh when that flesh hate the same flesh that they came from in this world. So I just wanted to bring this subject up, and in my talking to or bringing this subject up, clearly I don't hate or have a problem with homosexual behaviors. However, I must speak the truth when it is an unnatural behavior, and so many of the things that so-called human beings do is unnatural behavior, but it comes from not only black people, but all of us are living in some type of form of a slave-like condition. And all of us, regardless to race, creed, color, gender, and all these different things, in order to enjoy your life so that we can live better, instead of working your life away for the benefit of somebody else, we should wish the destruction of the present life. And all should be striving for what in religion is called the heaven on earth. So with that said, thank you for listening. Let's talk about this. Jot down your comments. This is your brother, Angel Snub 7. This was and is the Reality's Temple on earth. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the gatekeeper or the host of this particular program, known here on the Internet, or some of y'all still call the World Wide Web. However you call it, I am known on this media as the mighty Angel Snub 7. I am your brother and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I'm sorry, I have to smile because it's a little joke that I keep to myself, but really what makes me smile, what makes me laugh, is that I get so many people upset. There are so many people who are loyal to these belief systems or these ideologies that should be left in the past where they got them. So this would be another mini video lecture, whereas I will upset those who are Afrocentric, African spirituality, black power, all this type of stuff. These are ideas, these are philosophies from the past. These are things that did not or was not brought to us by the people who y'all worship, that you have become loyal to. There is nobody from the tribe of Shabazz that told you anything and taught you anything. There's nobody from Kemet, there's nobody from ancient Egypt that taught y'all nothing. There's no ancient Moor that taught you anything. There's no Hebrew Israelite people that taught you anything. So where are you people? Why there's no Africans that's teaching you anything? African spirituality, that don't even make any sense. Where does that come from? Africa has many religions. So what is African spirituality? Where do it come from? What people, what African people practice the African spirituality that y'all claim that you practice, but yet you were not taught by them? Where is all this stuff coming from? It is manufactured I call it Africanized fantasy. It is delusional. And it comes from the fact that you who are born in America, who call yourself black or Negro African American, you have no true identity. You know that you're not an American. You know that much. You know that your history, wherever you came from, you were made lost, deaf, dumb, and blind. So now you're just making up stuff, trying to make it fit you, when you should be awakening yourself. All these things was needed in order to give you a foundation, give you a base to work from. But now, in 2014, if you really grew in that knowledge, then you should now have gotten to the point where we have developed and came to a conclusion, because we have become unified, so that we may create a brand new identity for a brand new people that was born in the womb of North America. You may be related to. You may be related to those who you say tribe of Shabazz or of Kemet, of Moors, or the ancient Israelites. You may be related, but you are no longer of them. We are a brand new people. And until you unify and become that brand new people, you will never break free, because all these other different things, now they represent slavery. So now, your first problem was physical slavery by Caucasian people. Now you voluntarily enslave yourself because you don't understand yourself. And as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says in his teaching, you must first know yourself, and you don't know yourself. Well, Elijah Muhammad said this about us knowing ourselves. That was for that time, for that purpose. And clearly, they didn't get it. That's why the Nation of Islam fell, because they didn't get it and was not getting it. So as soon as their leader passed this life, 40 years of work fell in less than 2 years. And so, with all this knowledge that you have since Garvey, you have moved no further than Nation of Islam, than Garvey, than Noble Drew Ali. You keep praising dead people. You living. And you can't do no better than those who died, those who came before you. You are doing worse. You're going backwards because you're trying to live a past that you were not part of. You did not live in Kemet. You did not live in the tribe of Shabazz. You did not live with the Moors. You did not live and learn with the Hebrew Israelites. You live in fantasy and fiction. And until you accept your reality, you're going to stay in this condition. You can holler black power. You can have all the lectures that you want. You can continue to praise dead master teachers. You can continue to do all that. And you will get what you deserve. And what you deserve is to continue to be a high-class slave. The greatest slave that have ever existed on this planet. Enjoy yourself. So if you get angry at me because I'm smart enough, and I know that we're wise enough, we're intelligent enough to create our own identity. We have the same hands that they had in Kemet. We have the same eyes they had or had during Moorish times. The same brain as those of the tribe of Shabazz. But we can't accomplish what they done. In fact, become greater. Because we're going backwards instead of moving forward. Because you don't understand the tools that you was given, and you don't know how to use the tools appropriately. Because everything that we have been given as we evolved in this struggle was to raise your consciousness, not to black consciousness, not to black power, but to simple reality. It was the oppressor that made you black. It was the oppressor that put you in a box of skin color. prior to this enemy, there is no so-called African or black people was not interested in skin color. We was interested in tribes and religion, and very soon all that needs to fall. Too much confusion, too much drama, and all this drama and confusion led to hatred and wars all throughout history. How are you going to create a peace with so much confusion? You and I, we are what the world is waiting on. We should have learned the greatest lessons in history due to our surgeon and become the prime examples and become the leaders of the world, because nobody has suffered like the black man and woman in America. And if we can solve this problem and rise up out of this, then surely we can show the world how to solve the world's problem. And the world's problem, in fact, is indeed this world that is influenced by so-called Western civilization needs to be removed and destroyed. But how can you do that trying to go back into the past and bring back a dinosaur that has served its time? And there's a new baby in the womb waiting to be born. You don't want to have this baby. You're willing to abort yourself. So please tell me, and you can get angry all you want. Please tell me, who taught you all these things? Or is it all manufactured, made up? I don't claim to be a leader. I don't claim to be God. I don't claim to be divine or special. That's what you're looking for. But for me, the only thing I can do for us is suggest these titles that y'all love, God, goddesses, divine, and special. These are titles that you give yourself, but they are titles that are difficult to live up to. Most of you who embrace these titles, leader, God, goddesses, and all this other stuff that y'all love, you are either failing in that title or you're doing a poor and incompetent job. You reject your real leaders because you think that you're supposed to like your leader. This shows how infantile and childish we are. You're looking for some leader, somebody that you can follow that you like. Leadership is not about liking somebody. Leadership is about those who have the capability and the wisdom to get the job done. And the job that must be done is to free a people. Are the people being free? Are the people awakening? No. So you have leaders, but they are incompetent. You have leadership, but they're doing a poor job. Why? Because they are using tools of the past that they do not know how to appropriately use. When a chief executive officer, CEO, is chosen in a corporation, they are not chosen to be liked. They are chosen to make profits for that company. They are chosen to move that company forward. It is not about being liked by personal people and what people personally want. They could care less. It is about what is in the best interest of the company. Leadership should be about the best interest of a people, not your individual taste. What is in the best interest of a people? You don't have to like the leader, but the leader must do things that the people like and they might not like for the best interest of the people that might be beyond the understanding of the people or the employees of the corporation. In religious teachings, the Quran says that Allah chooses whom He pleases. So maybe I might be the one, the so-called leader. But since you don't like me, or whatever reason you reject what I have to say, but that's your problem. And the Quran says very clear, and you Muslim brothers and sisters, y'all should understand that more than anybody. Allah chooses whom He pleases. Don't necessarily mean that that person is supposed to come to you and tell you, well, I'm a Muslim. Follow me, I'm the leader. Allah can send you a leader in the manner that he or she deems fit. The answer to the problem of the so-called Negro in America, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, is we must accept our reality. That's why this is called the Reality's Temple. And even though you might be Muslim or Christian or Moor or Hebrew, whatever you call yourself, you got to view things in a realistic point of view. All this fantasy, fiction, and delusion, you got to let it go. And you must now depend on being able to analyze, being able to reason, being able to use common sense. And you must let go of belief. You must let go of all this divine stuff. A belief don't require facts. And since you don't require facts, the answer that you get is not going to be sufficient. The answer that you get is going to be fallible. And that's what you're living right now. And in all of this, you have become insane. Doing the same thing, but you expect a different result. In psychiatry, it's considered insanity. You're doing the same thing that Marcus Garvey did, same thing Malcolm did, the same thing Elijah Muhammad, same thing, well, I'm not going to say Nat Turner. Y'all don't have the, y'all don't have what's that, the gumption. You're not brave enough to be like Nat Turner. So I'm not going to say Nat Turner. But all this fancy talking, teaching stuff, spirituality stuff, y'all love it. And you think you're going to get a different result. What result are you expecting? The only result that you're going to get is continued slavery. And you got it, and I guess that you're very happy with it. So all that I can do is say, enjoy. Titles are difficult to live up to. But y'all love titles. The reason why Black Power, Black Conscience, all y'all love these titles, divine and God, goddesses, and all this spiritual stuff. Y'all like that because black people in America, you come from a place where you have been nothing. And you suffer from low self-esteem. So when you call yourself a god or a goddess or all these other titles that y'all embrace, that you grasp, makes you feel good. But the title is meaningless. It has no substance because that's not what you are. You call yourself a god. You call yourself a goddess. But you're still acting like a slave. You still call yourself a nigger. Even though you're a god and a goddess, you still call yourself a nigger. God and goddess is like oil and water. God and goddess and nigger is like oil and water don't mix. But y'all trying to make it mix. Because in reality, you have not changed. You are the nigga. How can you be a god and a goddess and you still depend on races to survive with your goddess self? You better get up in the morning and go to work before that pink man, that racist fire you. You a god and a goddess running around getting drunk. You a god and a goddess smoking weed, getting high, using weed and doing drugs. You a god and a goddess. But as soon as somebody say penis, as soon as somebody say vagina, your eyes light up. Because you obsessed with your genitalia, because that's all the slave master left us. Play with our private parts. What god and goddess do you know of need liquor, need marijuana to supplement him or herself? What if I'm a god and I'm a goddess? What I need crack for? What I need heroin for? What I need weed for? What I need wine for? What I need beer for? What I need vodka for? What I need those things for? I'm the ultimate power. I get high because I got power. But you need to play with your private parts. You need liquor. And you need to smoke marijuana. Because you know you have no power. So these things feed your fantasy and your delusions. So while you high, you think that you are God. And you are a God. A God of slavery. A God of foolishness. A God of ignorance. A God of cowardice. That's the only God and goddess you ever be. Feed your delusions. The reality is, from the point that we are right now, you can call yourself anything that you want. But I know and you know, we both know, that's not what you are. You cannot even comprehend what a god and goddess really is. Not from being a slave and still living like a slave right now as I speak. It will take generations to become this god and goddess that y'all keep talking about. And even so, it might take generations. By the time our children reach to the point where indeed they are gods and goddesses, they don't have to use the title. You have to use the title, God and goddess, and all these other titles, because that's not what you are. The racist Caucasian pink people of this earth are the gods and the goddesses of this world. But you never hear them running around talking about, I'm a god and I'm a goddess. Because that's what they are. So since that's what they are, they don't have to talk about it. The reason why black men have to talk about, I'm a man, is because you have yet to become one. So you got to tell people what they should already see. If you are God, if you are goddess, if you are just a man, people should see that. I shouldn't have to tell them nothing. When I speak, you hear a man's voice. When I walk, you see God. When I talk, when I move, you see a goddess. I don't have to talk about it. I am about it and be about it. But you, with your black power, black conscience, all this stuff, you know that's not what you are. And you're only fooling yourself. So you can continue to fool yourself. And you can stay away from this ministry because you know that I know that you ain't nothing but a nigga. You call yourself a nigga. That's what you are. I agree. But one thing for dang sure, you're not a god. You're not a goddess. You're nothing close. You're still a slave. And whose fault is that? It ain't the white man's fault. is your fault because you decide to live in the past instead of moving forward in the future. You and I, we have been given all the tools from the greatest leaders, the greatest teachers that have ever walked among us. It makes no sense that we continue to stay in this condition. Y'all selfish. You don't want to work with one another. You still hate black people. You talk about black power, but you still hate black people because you don't love another black man enough to unify with him and sacrifice and compromise so you can free our people once and from all from a vicious beast that has promised to take us all to hell with them. The black man and woman in America, you don't deserve hell. You deserve heaven. Elijah Muhammad said, come follow me, and I will give you good homes and fish up in all walks of life. I'll guide you to heaven. All our teachers, everything that has been taught to us, it will guide you there if you understand what you was being taught and evolve in that teaching and understand why they was taught that at that particular time. You and I, we are beyond that. Allah chooses whom he or she pleases. I'm not going to say Allah is male or female. God can be male or female, as far as I'm concerned. We need to give our sisters props and stop denying the womb. Another one of y'all problems. Male domination. It's all right. You don't mind when we talk about black people being oppressed, but men don't want to talk about women being oppressed because they enjoy the benefits of living in a male-dominated world. But with that said, jot down your comments, let's talk about it. And let's get real, because when you really get real and drop all this other stuff that you don't need, this baggage, your condition will change overnight. Thank you for listening. Let's talk about it. This your brother, the Angel Snub 7, brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Reality's Temple on Earth.